Well, I would say that he has done a pretty good job. He's been doing what he claimed he was going to do, and that is focus on the COVID virus, spreading the availability of the vaccine, trying to get as many people vaccinated by July 1st as possible, and he's well ahead of that schedule. He has also said he wanted to push through a stimulus package and then also an infrastructure package, and he's well on his way to doing both of those things. So I don't know, it just seems awful difficult to say that 53% of the populace think you're doing a good job and then say that's a great number when almost half are dissatisfied. But if Wall Street is any indication, Wall Street's very happy with what he has done. The market is up more than 8.5% since January 20th, which is the second strongest performance of any first-term president since World War II, second only to President Kennedy, who posted an 8.9% gain in his first 100 days. Well, I think that it's incorrect to be looking backwards with the new administration, because you're absolutely right that what is happening today has nothing to do with what he has done since being sworn in. It's really a question of what will happen in the second half of this year and into 2022 that should be given the grade. And right now, with earnings growth continuing on the ascent for 2021, I think that's an indication that investors are underestimating what the earnings and economic growth is likely to be for this year. And much of that credit should come to the stimulus package and the possibility of an infrastructure package. So I think in the first 100 days, we have to be looking forward, not looking backward, in order to give that grade. I think investors are cautious because the earnings bar was initially set very high and has now been placed even higher. On March 31st, expectations were that the first quarter earnings would rise by almost 15%. Today, that estimate is 25%. So we've had a 10 percentage point improvement in earnings for the first quarter. That said, we're also looking at a 53% year-on-year gain in second quarter earnings. So it's pretty difficult to exceed that kind of a forecast. So I think investors are worried that maybe we have already been factoring in much of this optimism, and that as a result, the market will probably have to take a breather before it can go back to its charging way. History could offer a nice guide as to what could happen for the remainder of this year. So far, the S&P equal weight 500 is up more than 16%, which is the third strongest performance going back to 1990. Following the top 10 performances, the market was actually down an average of 1.5% in May, and the market fell 60% of the time. So I would say in the very short term, be prepared for a digestion of recent gains. However, in the June through December period, so the rest of the year after we experience a digestion of gains, the market was higher 90% of the time. So 9 out of these top 10 years, the market was in positive territory in the remaining 7 months of the year, and the average price increase was 7.3% versus the more normal 4.3%. So I would tend to say that once we go through a slight pullback in the month of May, that we are probably setting ourselves up for a nice run toward the end of the year. Again, history says that we probably will have a relatively positive but anemic May through October period, but it's almost always better to rotate than it is to retreat, meaning it's always better to stick with stocks, don't jump into cash, but maybe you want to lean defensively in the May through October period. In that case, the market is those consumer staples and healthcare sectors have gained about 3.5% as compared with only a 0.8% rise for the S&P 500. So I think in the very near term, in the month of May, we could actually experience some red ink. In the May through October period, see a substandard return, but then end up with a nice end of year rally.